Newt Gingrich is here. His best-selling book, #1 New York Times, is out. It's called Understanding Trump. This has now hit, I think, a tipping point with the media and the president. I'm not sure I would have advised him to tweet out what he did to Mika and Joe today. I think, that's one of the 10% of tweets that end up in the mistake column, in my opinion.
I think that's right. But let me give you a parallel that just came out in the last few minutes that I'm so struck by, that I really was looking forward to the show because I want to share this with all of our audience. Two guys, Josh Archambault and Jonathan Ingram, just published in Forbes a article that says that the real CBO numbers are totally different than the numbers they released on the Senate bill. A couple quick examples. They said the Senate bill would have 7 million fewer people in the individual health insurance market, and yet that missed all of the changes that have occurred in between. Their own data doesn't say so. They say 5 million people are going to lose Medicaid expansion coverage, but that's in states that never expanded Medicaid in the first place. So those 5 million come out of the 22 million the press has been talking about. They say another 7 million are projected to lose Medicaid coverage because the individual mandate goes away, but the individual mandate doesn't apply to people on Medicaid. And these guys take this thing. This is such a bad report, such a hit piece. This is more of what you're talking about. Here's the Congressional Budget Office as part of the deep state doing a hit job on the Senate Republicans. And this is one more case for why the Republican Congress ought to have the guts to hold hearings, bring in the CBO experts, force them to explain how they screwed up so totally, because when you read this article, which just came out in Forbes this morning, this is crazy. I mean, here you have this so-called neutral Congressional Budget Office. All of the headlines that they created in the last few days, pounding on the Republicans, they're all lies. They're all false. There is no excuse for this for them to have been this wrong, and it's astonishing how wrong they are. And this is the kind of thing you're talking about, where every time you turn around, somebody in Washington, whether they're in the news media or the bureaucracy or a think tank or on a college campus, somebody is saying things that aren't true that then get picked up by the elite media and keep getting repeated. It's just crazy.
It's as bad as I've ever seen. Well, now, because Trump is fighting back, it started with the Atlantic and it's now spreading. And, I liked what you said about, CNN should have their own independent counsel to investigate their fake news scandal. But now the media narrative is, Donald Trump is fighting back. This is very dangerous to call the media an enemy of the people. Well, it's an enemy because they're lying to the American people, with the platforms that they have been given by the American people is a disgrace. It's a disservice to the people that they are supposed to be serving. And, this declaration that this war on the media is emboldening war zones, and the Atlantic editor-in-chief he's going to be responsible for violence against journalists. It seems to me, rather than have a real long, hard look in the mirror at their ideological bent and trying to rectify what has gone dramatically wrong in newsrooms all across the country and being called out and exposed, they just keep doubling down on attacking the president. And my argument is I don't think he needs them anymore.
I think that's right. But let me go a step further. It'll be interesting to see if any of the elite media cover the fact that all of the CBO numbers they've been using are wrong, that the Republican bill is dramatically better than this government bureaucracy score, which now turns out to be so stupid and so fake that, again, I'm just going to repeat what I've said before. One of the steps Republicans ought to do to clean up the swamp is abolish the Congressional Budget Office. This report is just crazy. And when you get this across the whole system, you have bureaucrat after bureaucrat who wants Trump to fail. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. There are a wide range of people out there who voted for Hillary, who gave money to Hillary, who hoped Hillary would win. They don't want to serve the President of the United States. They want to undermine him, slow him down, give him bad advice, and do everything they can to make sure he can't implement his program.
Well, I think that in many ways that you got the deep state. You got Democrats that want him to fail. Deep state selective leaking has been brutal to the president. There's even more coming, as I understand it, in the next week or so. Well, yeah, I mean, we're even getting tipped off when it's coming, which is ridiculous. So then you got the media, which has their own agenda. They never paid a price for collusion with Hillary. Then you've got Republicans that never liked Trump to begin with. And then you got never Trumpers that are just dying to gain back relevance and say, see, we were right. That's a lot of enemies for any one president to have.
Well, but if you're going to be as bold as he has been, remember he took on the entire Republican establishment and won the nomination. He pivoted, took on the anointed leader who'd been around trying to win presidency for a long time, her $1 billion campaign, which means all of her allies who gave her the money, and the elite media. And so this is the biggest outsider takeover of government I think we've seen since Andrew Jackson in 1828. I mean, I don't think we've seen anything like it. And, of course, the system's fighting back. I mean, you can't blame the system for fighting back. Trump represents the end of their values, the end of their vision of a bigger government, higher taxes, weaker economy, smaller military, more irrelevant America. I mean, from the standpoint of the left, Donald Trump is their worst nightmare. So I don't blame them for fighting. Our job is to mobilize and rally the American people and beat them.
Well, I think that certainly has happened. I think that's why you see the president so effective when he goes on the road. And that was the magic of Trump, wasn't it? Isn't this the magic that was and the magic that is him? And that's why
that's why I personally believe he should do one rally every 10 days.
I think that's probably a good strategy. I think that's a good idea, and I think he enjoys it, and I think the people enjoy seeing him. I mean, you watch the meltdown, the daily meltdown now in the press room, and is it going to be recorded? Not be recorded? Are in the hostility that exists in that room towards him? And I got to be honest. I mean, what's the point of him dealing with hostility all day if he can be going directly to the American people and answering their questions?
Right. I mean, the truth is, he's in a great position to go out and to communicate more directly. He's really built on what Reagan did. Reagan built on Franklin Delano Roosevelt's use of radio. Nobody's really done it between Roosevelt and Reagan. Reagan turned it into an institution, so every president since has done the Saturday radio address. Now, Trump is moving into the next cycle of technology, and he's using Facebook and Twitter and other kind of social media in a way that's quite impressive.
Yeah, it really is. All right, Mr. Speaker, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich.